Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everybody, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Guys, Scientology is being investigated for... I got to be careful with my words, within the first 30 seconds of a YouTube video. Let's see. How do I want to word this? Let's just say that last February, so almost a year ago now, myself, Serge Del Mar, Jenna Miscavige, attended a meeting of the LAPD commissioners. And we gave a speech that we organized this beforehand. We gave a speech, the three of us, back to back to back, talking to the LAPD commissioners about the ways in which Scientology institutionally violates the Child Abuse, Neglect, and Reporting Act. That it's actually built into the DNA of the organization. Like, it's not even possible for for a dimension to exist where Scientology exists and doesn't violate the Child Abuse, Neglect, and Reporting Acts. There are various versions of this law in the various states, and the federal version of this law. Scientology violates this all over the place, pretty much every single day. And I've done videos about this before. I got the sound on this turned off, but Jenna spoke first, and then Serge Del Mar spoke second, and then I spoke last there. And as a result of this event, a criminal investigation has been opened up into Scientology's violations of the Child Abuse, Neglect, and Reporting Act. And this is one of these things that, Scientology's tax exemption, their religious protection does not, will not, cannot shield them from prosecutions for serious crimes of this nature. So there's a subject that's very, very similar to this specific aspect of how Scientology violates the law. Let me explain. When I talk about Scientology's violations of CANRA, what I'm mostly thinking about when I say that is instances where crimes are committed against children by adults in Scientology, and these crimes are thoroughly investigated internally, but no information is ever provided to the civil authorities. It's against the rules in Scientology to ever report another Scientologist to the authorities for any reason. Any reason, okay? That's what I normally think of when I talk about Scientology violating CANRA laws. Now, the law also is child abuse and neglect. Neglect is a very major portion of that, but I generally think specifically of the child abuse. There's another thing that happens in Scientology, both for staff members and for Sea Org members, that may or may not be specifically considered a violation of CANRA, but needs to be talked about anyway and is being investigated, and is the reason I'm doing this video right now. And this has to do with child brides in Scientology, specifically for staff members and Sea Org members. Now, we say child brides, implying girls, but this also applies to underage boys being married off. It just so happens that it mostly happens to underage girls. In Scientology, staff members and Sea Org members who work in California, who are underage and are being married off to adults, they are sent across state lines to Nevada, specifically Las Vegas, to get married there instead of getting married in California. Now, the young Sea Org members who are sent across state lines to get married, they are told that the reason for this is to keep them out of the hands of the psychiatrists. Because in the state of California, if you are underage and you are getting married, the state requires you to undergo essentially a psych eval to make sure you are in the proper state of mind, are not being controlled, manipulated, coerced, whatever. It's a state action intended to protect children. So the young Scientology staff members and SEERG members are being told, no. The worst thing that could ever happen to you is you wind up in the hands of a psychiatrist. We don't want you, or even a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor of any kind. This is why it's very important you get married in Las Vegas. Now, to a young Scientologist, that sounds totally legitimate. What those young staff members and SEERG members don't know is that the real reason the Scientology's Office of Special Affairs does not want their underage staff members and SEERG members getting married in California, it's not just the psych eval. There's an entire process. It needs to be fully explained what this young person's life situation is. And if it were to be discovered by the state of California that these children who are getting married are not in school, have not finished school, do not live with their families, work 110 hours a week, the least of the state's concern is going to be that this child wants to get married. No, that's going to be the least of the state's concern. If these underage staff members and SEERG members were to, in fact, just get married in California and go through the normal process, it would be very clear, very quickly, that Scientology is, in fact, a child trafficking operation. And guys, what do I say on this channel more than anything else? Scientology is a multi-billion-dollar international family-destroying human trafficking cult. And this is just one of the ways in which that is true. And so, by the way, this investigation, it's a criminal investigation. There are also other non-criminal investigations occurring. If you are out there and you are an ex-staff member, an ex-SEERG member, and you got married underage, and you were in California and you were sent to Las Vegas or Nevada to get married underage, and you have not yet been contacted by an investigator, I would encourage you to shoot me an email at growingupinscientology@gmail.com and give me at least, and by the way, this is if this happened to you or if you know someone that it happened to. The names of the underage individuals who got married. If it's a woman, specifically their maiden name, the year that the marriage occurred, and the age that the people getting married would have been. Only send me the information if you are interested in and willing to cooperate with this investigation. And also the best way to contact you if this is something that happened to you specifically. This is something that has come up in one of the lawsuits against Scientology right now. There's a handful of lawsuits, about 5 active lawsuits against Scientology and David Miscavige. One of these lawsuits is Jane Doe versus Gavin Potter, David Miscavige, the Church of Scientology, Religious Technology Center, and Bridge Publications. Gavin Potter is a very, very well-known Sea Org recruiter, Sea Org executive. And in Gavin Potter's declaration for this lawsuit against him, and it's basically a child sex abuse lawsuit. Gavin says that the reason he, as an adult, had to abscond to Las Vegas with his child bride still in braces, no less, it was because Gavin's afraid of needles, you guys. Gavin's afraid of needles. And at that time, in that year, in the state of California, you, I guess, had to be subjected to some sort of a blood draw to make sure you weren't infected with some kind of a disease. Now, I asked myself, why in present day would Gavin Potter in a declaration say the reason he had to go to Vegas to get married is because he's afraid of needles? Why would he say that instead of, because any normal Scientologist would tell you that it is a part of their core, truly heartfelt religious beliefs that under no circumstances would they ever allow themselves to be examined by a psychiatrist. Like, they consider that part of their religious freedom is to be free of ever having to be under the care of a psychiatrist or a psychologist in any way, shape, or form. Why wouldn't Gavin say it's against my religious beliefs to subject myself to psychiatric evaluation? Why would he say some bullshit about being afraid of needles? Well, I'll tell you what I believe the answer is. The state of California does not give a damn whether your religious beliefs preclude you from being evaluated by a psychiatrist. Those safeguards are in place to protect children. And whereas Scientologists, might sign declarations saying, one of the contracts that Scientologists signs when they sign up is, it's basically, it's almost like it's a contract. What's the legal word? Would it be a waiver, a declaration, a contract? You basically sign a form that says, if I ever wind up in the hands of a psychiatrist or in a psych hospital or whatever, any Scientologist can come and check me out and take custody of me. And this is my religious beliefs. So even though Scientologists sign these forms, and they're probably under the belief that these forms somehow supersede the state's right and ability to protect children, I think the Office of Special Affairs stepped in and told Gavin, no. You cannot say that the reason for this was that you didn't want to be examined by a psychiatrist. Because, by the way, Gavin, you were not the child. Gavin, you weren't the child in this marriage. The girl was the child. You were a whole ass adult with a 9-year-old child of your own at that point. You can't act like that the reason you guys went to Vegas was to keep you out of the hands of the psychs. You've got to make up some other bullshit. You got to say you're afraid of needles. Anyway, this is a very, very dangerous area for Scientology because like I said in the beginning, none of their religious beliefs, none of their religious protections come into play when it comes to the ways in which Scientology has circumvented the safeguards that exist in the state of California to protect children. And so this child bride thing is a really, really big deal. So again, I just implore any ex-Scientologists, ex-staff members, ex-Sea Org members out there, if this happened to you or if this happened to anyone you know, and if you have not yet been contacted by an investigator, please shoot me an email at growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Names of the kids who are getting married, year the marriage would have occurred approximately, ages of the kids who were married. Scientology is pretty screwed on this one, guys. Pretty screwed. Okay, let's see. Let's go through some starred comments and we'll wrap this up. True crime lovey. That would be just another reason explanation that they are trying to relocate to Florida. Bill Karmetsky, as a Scientologist in good standing, how I want to be there when Miscavige is taken into custody. Richard Francoeur. Good to, Richard. Wait. Richard Francoeur. I thought this was someone else. Yep. Age is just a number is a classic one. Missy, for sure, any moving of people within Scientology is going to be sussed. Venable Crash Baddie. No, Venus Blue Crash Baddie. Is this the Gawain, Laura, and Valeska lawsuit? No, that's a different lawsuit. That's the Baxter Paris lawsuit. That's in Australia. Well, I guess that was filed here in Tampa, right? No. This is those guys are not suing. Those guys are not suing as Jane Does and John Does. This is the Jane Doe versus Gavin Potter, David Miscavige lawsuit. Northern Girl. States should all have the same laws when it comes to children, including no statute of limitations on CSA. Susie Oberholtz. This could be a huge breakthrough in the fight against Scientology. Old Frizzle. This is what you call an anti-Scientology YouTube channel. Great work, Aaron. Yes, indeed. Arkansas Flamingo. Get Aaron to 10x Scientology. Subscribe if you haven't. Oh, thank you for reminding us of the 10x game. I'm trying to get 10x subscribers as there are Scientologists in the world. We're getting close, guys. I need about 4,000 more, 26,000 Scientologists in the world, trying to get to 260,000 subs. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing. Timothy, is this Timothy? Timothy USD. I was surprised that in Nevada, the age of majority is 16. Something you could go to prison for in other states is perfectly legal there. Well, there you go. All right, guys. This is not all for me today. There will be more. That's why I wanted to squeeze this in before I go do something else real quick. Thank you for hanging out with me, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, dancing for my love, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe